Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and I want to talk a little bit about this rumor going around all over the internet, all over Twitter about Anne Heche and what happened to her. And if you've read any of the news recently, you'll know the sad news that Anne Heche, an actress, was in her vehicle, and her vehicle went at very high speeds and crashed into a home and went into flames. And then the fire department arrived and they tried to put out the flames and save Anne Heche. And sadly, she was very badly burned. They got her to the hospital, but yeah, she was eventually pronounced dead. And so one would think that would be it. It's a very sad ending to someone's life. But no, that is not how it's ending for a lot of people in the internet world. So I was on Twitter and I'm looking at this tweet that comes in, and it says Anne Heche was murdered because of Jeffrey Epstein and sex trafficking. She was doing a documentary on Jeffrey Epstein and they silenced her. And I tweeted back, stop it. Please stop it. She's just an actress. She's not going to change the world of sex trafficking. She's not full of secrets that anybody needs her to be killed over. It's nonsense. And after I wrote that, I got a barrage of, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how you're a criminal profiler. This is what she was going to take people down. Anyway, let me go over something sensible here. All right. First of all, Anne Heche has suffered for much of her life with mental health issues, with psychoses, and with drug addiction and heavy drug use. When she was killed in her car, she was on drugs at that time. I don't know how much of her mental health issues and how much of the drugs or how much of a combo caused this to happen, but she was alone in the car. She was controlling the car, and then she was not controlling the car, which is why she ended up crashing and dying from the injuries. Now, there are people out there again all over the internet who are saying, but here's what happened. You see, the fire department, I think there were dozens of firemen at the scene, and they supposedly were all part of this conspiracy. And on top of that, the paramedics apparently were also part of the conspiracy. So somehow the sex traffickers, somehow they knew she was going to crash her car at that moment, and they all got there to then make sure she died. Does this make any sense? No. And then there's someone say, oh, well, they tampered with her car. They did something to her brakes. You know, she was going really, really, really fast. So braking has nothing to do with the fact that she had her foot on the gas pedal and was going at extremely high rate of speed on a flat road. So she wasn't going down a mountain. So all of this is such nonsense. She unfortunately made very bad choices that day. That involved drugs, involved operating a motor vehicle under the influence, and I don't know what else, but she crashed a car and she died because of it. Now, they're saying, you know, she's doing this documentary on Jeffrey Epstein. No, she's not doing a documentary on Jeffrey Epstein at all. This is just not even true. What she's doing, and it's coming out in I think just a couple weeks, it is this movie. Where'd my movie go? Hold on a second. She's going to be in this movie. Here it is. All right. There's her upcoming movie is Girl in Room 13, and it's going to premiere in September. Now, she plays the mother of a drug-addicted teenage girl. This is not a documentary. This is a movie. It's a Lifetime movie. It's the normal kind of movie where you have, you know, bad things happen to people, and then the mother or father becomes a hero and tries to save their loved one, their child from whomever stole them. And in this particular movie, her daughter was addicted to opioids due to some sports injury, and some doctor gave her opioids, and then she became addicted. And then when the movie begins, this girl has been off of the drugs for like a month, and they're all cheering, hey, that's great. She says, I'm going to stay the course. And then one of her friends tells her, oh, you got us, you know, your ex-boyfriend's been asking about you. So she says, oh, he's just trouble. But she goes and meets him anyway. And And she says, no, I'm not interested in anything. Obviously, this is only a trailer, so I'm assuming she says, I don't want to do any more drugs or whatever. He goes, oh, okay. And then he goes to hug her goodbye, and she goes to hug him. And then he grabs onto her and won't let her go. And then he drags her to the car, throws her in there, and he takes her to this motel where he ties her up to a bed. And at that point, I'm guessing from that point on, he's bringing her into sex trafficking. He's giving her drugs. I'm assuming he's raping her. He's trying to get her used to the idea of being a prostitute. That's what the movie looks like to me. So this is just a very Hollywood movie. It has nothing to do with any secrets coming out about the sex trafficking world. And while I'm here, because it bugs me over and over again, I want to talk about how this movie, in my opinion, is the kind of movie I don't like seeing coming out. And a lot of people are cheering, oh, good, it's going to bring more people to understand what's happening in the world of sex trafficking. No, it's not, because although it says based on true events, not a true event, but true events, and ripped from the headlines, this is not the way sex trafficking works in this movie. Now, I'm not going to say there couldn't be one person here and one person there that this could apply to, but across the board, this is not the way it works. And I want to get rid of some of these myths for you. I'm going to go to a site here, which I really like. It's a Polaris project, and they have good information. I'm going to put the link below on how sex trafficking actually works. So understand, human trafficking can be for sex and it can be for work. So there's two types of trafficking of humans. And each country has different kinds of human trafficking. And people confuse what kinds of trafficking happen here and there, and they conflate the two, and they think it's the same everywhere. It's not. A lot has to do with poverty, war, cartels, all kinds of things that then link into trafficking in many forms. So if we're looking at the United States, these are the statistics for the United States. Well, not statistics, but just the basics of how it really works here. All right. How does it begin? People in sex trafficking situations almost always know and even trust or love their traffickers. Traffickers target vulnerable people who have needs that the traffickers can fill. Sometimes they offer material support, a place to live, clothing, a chance to get rich quick, let's see, other times they offer love, emotional support, or a sense of belonging. Kidnapping victims and forcing them into the sex trade through violence is rare. This movie is doing the rare, which rarely happens. And it drives me crazy because I have a book, you can click on it below. It's called How to Save Your Daughter's Life. And I have whole chapters on this issue. You're not going to get kidnapped into sex trade in this country. You're going to be using drugs. You're going to be a runaway. You're going to get a boyfriend and you're going to hang out with him and he's going to say, hey, you can make good money. Then there are many girls, many women who willingly take up jobs in escort services, bottle girls, they work for massage parlors, and they do it willingly. Nobody forced them into it. That's prostitution. And that's kind of grouped into this. So most people getting involved in the sex trade, the victims, they're not kidnapped. They're not, because you don't need to kidnap people when you have a whole bunch of people who will go with you willingly. If they need drugs, they'll go with you. They don't have a place to stay, they'll go with you. And you don't have to tie them up and you don't have to torture them. In this country, at least in the United States, you just keep giving them drugs and say, hey, you want more? You need to service this guy. You service this guy, I'll give you, you're going to get money and you'll get more drugs. And they're brought into the industry. And some of them even think it's just cool. Not that it's a healthy thing to think, and not that, you don't want them out of the industry, but it's not the way it's portrayed in movies most of the time. And because of that, people aren't paying attention to the things that really do encourage young girls and women and boys too, by the way, and young men into the industry. Now, I want to talk about who the victims are. Anyone can be trafficked, but some people are far more vulnerable than others because they have greater needs. You see, this a whole need thing. It's not about just doing it for no reason or somebody forcing you. It's because they need something. These include people living in poverty. Now, poverty is a big thing. When you can't make any money, or you're making terrible money, you're unemployed, and somebody says, hey, you can come work at the massage parlor. You go, how much do I make over there? Oh, let's say they go, okay, well, you can make like $50 to $100 an hour. Well, compared to the job you can get in the local neighborhood or the job you don't even have, good money. So these include people living in poverty or in unstable housing situations, as well as people with a history of trauma or addiction. So that's that. And then here's a really good part of this particular page. Why don't victims just leave? In many cases, people in sex trafficking situations do not see themselves as victims while they are being trafficked. They have been so expertly manipulated or groomed that they believe they are making their own choice to engage in commercial sex. These emotional ties are as powerful as being held in handcuffs or behind bars. So most of the time they've been coached into this lifestyle. And they're thinking, this is cool. I'm making money. I'm having fun. I'm getting drugs. I'm, whatever. This is not so bad. So they don't need to put the handcuffs on them and tie them to the bed like in this movie. People in sex trafficking situations may well also depend on their traffickers for physical needs like money or shelter. They may face threats against them or their families or violence if they complain or try to leave. Now that can happen. Threats do sometimes happen. Like if they get hooked up with some really slimy guy, and their boyfriend / pimp, kind of thing. He's giving them a place to leave and they go, well, I want to leave. Well, you can't leave. They may be threatened at that point, but they're not being kidnapped and abducted into the life. They're just, you're just dealing with bad people who at that point say, hey, you're making me good money. I don't want you to leave. So how do people get out of sex trafficking situations? Every story is different. What they have in common is resilience. Survivors come to the understanding that they want to leave the situation and then fight to get out. Sometimes they get help from service providers or anti-trafficking organizations. They go seek help. Or sometimes in the neighborhoods, there'll be people out there who kind of try to reach out to girls on the streets and stuff. They'll reach out, but the girl herself, or the woman herself, or the boy himself has to say, hey, I want out. Can you help me? Here's what's this movie again is wrong about. The concept of a rescuing adult. A rescuing adult who is then rescuing these sex trafficking victims is misleading and dangerous. Survivors rescue themselves. So the fact that you would go into the world of prostitution and you'd go after the pimps and I don't know what she's going to be doing in the movie. You're going to see her doing in the movie since she's not with us anymore, but you're going to see her playing a mother who is going to go and try to rescue her daughter. And this is just not the way it works. And the movie, the danger of this movie is going to be that more and more people will think the women and children and men, boys are being kidnapped off the streets of the United States. Doesn't happen that way. Drives me crazy. So when a girl gets kidnapped walking home from school, it's a serial killer. It's not a sex trafficker. So that is always so much nonsense. Natalie Holloway goes missing in Aruba. Oh, she was trafficked. No, she wasn't. It was Joran van der Sloot. He killed her on the beach. It's not this big, huge sex trafficking ring where they, Madeleine McCann when she was in Portugal. Nobody went in and kidnapped the girl for a sex trafficking thing. That's ridiculous. You can, even if you want children, you can find parents who are drug addicts who will just let you have the kid to use. You don't have to kidnap them out of a vacation flat of visiting doctors. That's absolutely stupid. So this is the kind of thing I want to get out of people's heads. So this is a great site. I'm going to put that below Polaris. And if you want to read my book, you can go below. It's called How to Save Your Daughter's Life. Let me see. I think I have a picture of it here. Hold on a sec. There we go. How to Save Your Daughter's Life. And straight talk for parents from America's Top Criminal Profiler. And I wrote this quite a few years ago. And I talk about every way that girls can get in trouble. And one of the chapters is on prostitution and how girls get into prostitution. So check that out. You click below, you can get the link. I will tell you this, unfortunately, I'm not sure what Amazon has for my book at the moment. I do know they have an audio of the book, which I hate because it's not me talking and some sweet woman. It's like just so wrong. I don't know if they have hardbacks or paperbacks right now, but you can get it through eBay as well, and you can get it probably through Amazon, through some other, used bookstore if they're not selling copies right now straight there. But check that out, and check the Polaris site I have below. And my opinion is, don't watch the new movie because it just looks stupid to me and it's very irritating. And again, to end the show, no, Anne Heche was not murdered by anyone. She unfortunately essentially murdered herself. And nothing she's connected to has anything to do with sex trafficking or her trying to take down any great sex trafficking ring or whatever theory these people have. It's insanity, and people need to stop promoting these theories on the internet. It's very, very sad, and it's gotten out of hand. Anyway, that's it. Please, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, like this video, share on your true crime groups if you have any, and hit the bell for notifications. And I'll see you another time with some more news that's coming out, but hopefully not with sad endings like this. Bye.